I'd like to welcome you to our study in the book of Galatians. Today we're in Galatians, the 5th chapter, and we're still in verse number 20. We're going through the works of the flesh, and it's vitally important that you understand what your flesh does, what it produces, how it performs. Now we're in verse number 20, and we're starting with this word strife. We covered enmities yesterday in our video. Today we're looking at the word strife. What does the word strife mean? It means to quarrel. It means wrangling. And it's actually a word that's used mostly with someone's speech. It means backbiting. It means coming to someone and just constantly biting at them with your words. The Greek word here again it's used mainly in talking about the way they talk. Another way of translating it is just ragging on someone, just constantly just coming against them and talking to them in a way that's not fruitful. You see, that comes out of the flesh. That comes because our flesh desires to always correct, to always be on top of someone, to always be able to point out someone else's faults. Let me say something to you. If you run into a person that's constantly pointing out someone else's faults, you know what? They've got a problem with their flesh. Now, they might be a bodybuilder, they might look good, but you know what? Their flesh is dominating their lives. Their flesh and the performance of their flesh is a major problem for them. And it's seen in how they speak to someone else. You ever thought, you know what, I don't want to talk to that person. And why do you think that? Because they're constantly coming against you. They're constantly correcting you. And that's what this word strife means. Now quickly, going on to jealousy. The Greek word zelos, and it actually means a white-hot zeal for something or a fierce jealousy. This word can be used in a good sense. How many of you know that God is jealous for us? The book of Romans, the 10th chapter, verse number 2 says, "For I testify about them that they have a zeal for God." It's the exact same word. It's a white-hot desire. It's a white-hot zeal. It's a white-hot jealousy. I want it. I want him. I want him. And that's a good thing. But now the Apostle Paul is talking about a work of the flesh, and it's not a good thing. The Apostle Paul is talking about people that constantly wanting more for themselves. I one time listened to an interview of a man who's a very, very wealthy man. And they said, "Why don't you just retire? You've got more money than you can possibly spend." And he looked at the camera and he said, "Because I want more." Well, what was his problem? His problem was his flesh was dominating him. I want more. I want more. I want more. And it's a problem that arises from our flesh. The next thing that's mentioned is an outburst of anger. Now, again, this is a white-hot anger. There are several Greek words that are translated into English as anger. This Greek word is the Greek word thumos. And it's an impetuous action of anger. You say, well, what does it mean? It's quick to anger. They're quickly angry. It's the work of the flesh. Oh, no, that's just the way I was created. I have an Irish anger or a Dutch anger or whatever. You know what it is? It's a work of the flesh. It's something that needs to be crucified. It's something that needs to be put under by the Spirit of God. an outburst of anger, white hot anger, an anger that's so quick. You know, it's good to be angry with sin. It's good to be angry with the enemy, the devil. But when a person is so quick to anger, well, we say they fly off the handle, bam, and they're angry. Just quick. That's what the Apostle Paul is talking about here. People who are quick to anger. And then we move on to the next word, disputes. Now, how many of you realize that these words that the Apostle Paul are now sharing with us, these are words that affect a person's relationship with another person? You see, let me just say this. People who operate in the flesh, they build their relationships based on the flesh. Now, I'm not talking about so much the outward appearance, but they like certain aspects, and many times there are fleshly aspects. And you know what? Those types of relationships are bound to be destroyed. Now, another work of the flesh, disputes. Factions. The Greek word, it literally means to work for hire. It actually means someone comes in and they say, you know what, I want you to come and be part of what I'm doing. And what happens? You get a faction. It's a work of the flesh. I want you to be part of my group. Now, don't mess with that other group over there. You're my group. Sometimes call them cliques. Sometimes they're churches. Do you understand it's a work of the flesh? That's my people. Those are my people. My people. Well, what's it doing? It's causing disputes. It's causing factions. This verse means to divide by looking after your own interests. Come to me. Come be part of my group. I will take you in. I will treat you better. I've got the knowledge. And you know what happens? That work of the flesh destroys relationships. Those relationships are bound to be destroyed. Why? Because they are based on the flesh. I hope that these words that we're describing to you are a blessing to you. Join us again tomorrow as we finish this study in the works of the flesh.